Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Now we're going to continue with factorisation, bringing the brackets back. Again, let's take a wee step back and remind ourselves about factor pairs. If we have 6, I can write that as a pair of factors, 6 times 1. It's a factor pair for 6. Another factor pair for 6, 3 times 2. These are factor pairs. Now if we look at 6 of A, what pairs of numbers can we multiply to get 6A? 6 times A gives me 6A. 3 times 2A, another factor pair, multiply these together and I get 6A, and 3A times 2. These are all factor pairs for 6A. 9A squared, two factors that I could multiply together, 9 times A squared, 9A times A, or 3A times 3A, all factor pairs of 9A squared. Now, step back to last week, we were multiplying out brackets, and we had this 3A, we knew that whatever we had outside the bracket multiplied each term inside. So we had 3A times 3A. And if we could remind ourselves that that was just 3 times A times 3 times A. And that was 9A squared. So this was last week's work. That was 9A squared plus 3 times plus 2 was 6A. So we expanded the brackets. This week we're going to look at bringing the brackets back. So do you agree if 3A times 3A plus 2 is equal to that, then we can say, okay, 9A squared plus 6A is equal to 3A, and inside the brackets, 3A plus 2. So that's going the opposite way. That's bringing the brackets back. Now let's see what we did. What steps would we take? We've got 9A squared plus 6A. We'll deal with our numbers first. We would look at 9 and we would look at 6 and ask ourselves, is there a number that divides into 9 and also divides into 6? And there is, it's 3. So there we are, have it there. A squared and A, is there a common factor there? Remember, A squared is A times A. So yes, there is a common factor, it's A. So we take out 3A. Now what we would be looking at there is 3A times what would give us 9A squared. Now in our factor pair up here, you can see 3A times 3A. So that would be 3A. So 3A times what gives us 9A squared? It would be 3A. 3A times what gives us plus 6A? 3A times plus 2. And when you multiply that out, as we did last week, that would take you to there. So this week's lesson is reversing that and bringing the brackets back. Okay, so let's do some examples on factorisation. Factorise, bring the brackets back. So let's do that. We're going to try and bring the brackets back. What you would do is look at your numbers first of all, 5 and 15. Can you think of a number that divides into 5 and into 15? 5. Now here we have A times B and here we have A. So A is common to both. We're going to put 5A. Then the next thing we've got to decide is what goes inside the bracket. Remember, what we have outside the bracket multiplies each term inside the bracket. So we've got 5A times what would give us 5AB. So it would be B. In there it would be B. Plus 5A times what? 5A times what would give me 15A. And it would be 3. 5A times 3. Now, once you've done that, you should check by multiplying it out to check that you have the right answer. If we multiply out the bracket, 5AB plus 15A. So that's us. We can check. Let's go on to number 2. Again, we've got two numbers and we've got our letters. Let's deal with the numbers first of all. If we are looking at 12 and 16, is there a number that divides into both 12 and to 16? Well, while 2 divides into 12 and to 16, it's not the highest common factor. So you would ask yourself, is there a bigger number that divides into 12 and into 16? And there is, it's 4. So if we deal with our numbers first, it would be 4. Now B is common to both, so 4B is the highest common factor. Now to decide what goes inside the bracket, 4B times what would give me, we want our answer to be 12AB. So can you see that it would have to be 3A? 3A would have to go inside the bracket, and it's minus this time. So 4B times what would give me minus 16B? It would be 4. So 3A minus 4. Let's move on to number 3. And the same type of thing here. We've got 24x squared and minus 18x. Let's deal with our numbers first of all. What is the highest number that we divide into both 24 and into 18? Again, 2 divides into it. We would keep going to see if you can get a higher common factor. And can you see that 6 is a common factor of 24 and 18? So the number, let's deal with the number first. X squared and x. Remember, x squared is x times x, so 6x would be the highest common factor. And then we would have to decide what goes inside there. Now if we're thinking of factor pairs, 6x times what number would give us 24x squared. So that would be 4x. So 4x would give us 24x squared. And 6x times what would give us 18x. Can you see that that would be 3x? That's a minus, sorry, it would be minus 3. And again, once you've done that, you can check to see if you've got it right, because when you multiply out the bracket, you of course should get what's on the previous line. So that would be 6 4 are 24, x times x is x squared, 6x times negative 3 is negative 18x, so that's correct. Number 4, same type of example. Look at the numbers first. First of all, have we got a common factor? Again, 2 goes into it, but can you see 10 is the highest common factor of 40 and 50. We'll get x squared and we'll get x. So highest common factor is 10x. And again, to find out what goes in here, 10x multiplied by what would give us 40x squared. Now 10x times 4 would give us 40, and it would have to be 4x. 10x times what would give us 50x? It would be 5, so this would have to be minus 5. And again, you can check it by multiplying out the bracket. This one's a wee bit harder. For number 5, remember the 8d squared is equal to 8 times d times e squared. And 12 d squared e is equal to 12 times d squared times e. So let's deal with our numbers first of all. 8 and 12, highest common factor there would be 4. Now let's look at our letters, d and d squared. So d is common to both. E squared and e, so e is common to both, so 4de. Now we have to decide what goes inside the bracket. 4 times what gives me 8? It would be 2. And I have d there. E times e gives me e squared, so 2e. 4 times what gives me 12? That would be 3. And I have e. I don't have d squared, so that's going to have to be 3d. And you would check that. Let's multiply out the bracket. 8d e squared. And this would be 12d squared e. So that's us finished. Okay, thank you.